everybody. I thought I would tell you a little bit more about Chapter 18, one of the advanced topics in Swing from the Java for Programmers book, is called tables. And tables are kind of important if we want to embark upon a project involving Java database connectivity, which involves getting result sets from a database, typically a relational database management system, that returns something in a two-dimensional array, typically called a table. We like a visual representation of the table, and Swing provides us with something that allows it to occur. It uses the model view controller design pattern. So we'll have a table model. The view will be rendered with Swing, and the controller can either be used from an external source of data that can update the table periodically, or it can be the view itself. The view can act as the controller, so you can interact with the table. And so what we have is the model is observable, which means the view class has to be updated when it gets when the model gets changed. The controller can change the model, and we can have interaction between the controller, the view, and the model. We use a model view controller for modular design, complexity hiding, a simplified API interface, and some mechanism of consistency. The notion is that we don't put any GUI elements in the model. And that way, if we want to change from some Swing implementation of the view to something like HTML rendering of the view, we should be able to do it. And the controller is like a mediator design pattern which hooks up the observer and the observable elements. So tables are useful for representing two-dimensional data. They typically have rows and columns, and they're numbered in the usual way. Cells are the primary element of the table, the lowest element, most primitive element. And a table is a Swing component, which means you can add it to a panel, and then take the panel, put it into a frame, and display it. Typically, you can define the table to have a known number of rows and columns, or you can give it row data with column names directly. It'll also take in vectors, but the interesting thing, if you're using the model view controller, is to pass in a table model. The table model is a whole separate class. You can construct it, and then when you put it into the JTable, it becomes an observer of the table model's changes, and it also can control the table model. Typically, you can create these things without a table model. Here's a bunch of static data just being shoved into a two-dimensional array. And once you have something like that, you can define some columns and then make a new JTable, and voila, you've displayed it. But interacting with this view of the data doesn't enable you to alter the underlying data. At this level, what we've done is we've simply made a read-only view of a two-dimensional array. And we've given a different rendering for the headers, what we call the column names, so that it's obvious what the properties are supposed to represent. The table model has a separate column model, and the column model allows us to define what the column names will be. Column events will cause column models that change to propagate over to the views. Same thing for the table model event. This is triggered by table model changes. So the observers are looking for these specialty events, column events and model events, and they flow through from the observer to the observable, that is, from the model to the view. So here's a table column. We'll go to the table model, get the column, and then we'll proceed to change some properties such as preferred width. We can change column widths for an arbitrary table. We just get the column model, and then once we have it, we can set the preferred width of the column. The table model is typically created from an abstract model that requires an implementation of the column count, the row count, the value at each row, and the column class. And so it's a fairly easy matter to make a new instance of a table model. Just provide an implementation for the abstract table model class. I think it's well to point out that this is an anonymous inner class, but you could certainly have made it a named class by doing an extends, and then you could have, my table model extends abstract table model, and then provide implementations for all the things that you're looking for. Now, the other thing you want to do with the table model, in order to make it so that it's a little bit more flexible in terms of size, is put it into a J-scroll pane. And J-scroll pane gives you elevators that go left and right and up and down, and this will enable you to automatically deal with larger tables and scroll around inside of them. All right, everybody, I thought I'd give you a quick demo of a display table. This one uses a simple two-dimensional array of column names and data values, proceeds to make a JTable out of these things, and then proceeds to add them off to a J-scroll pane and show them on a frame of known width and height. Let's just give that a go. And there's a little table with some interesting data in it. We can find several examples in the chapter labeled 47. Let's try a table where we put in some random strings. Actually, they're not random, they have meaning, but I won't go into that. And then if you want to see how this sort of thing is created, I can show you. Here what we'll do is we'll just call display table. We'll get the columns. We'll get the two-dimensional array. We'll put it into a title and call display table, and that's it. It displays a table. There's no interaction here. When you look at the columns, you can see the columns are just invoked by get columns, which is a one-dimensional array that goes across the top. If you want to, you can use display table from just about anywhere. I give you a static mechanism for doing the invocation. And then the two-dimensional array comes in here. So we want a two-dimensional array of string, and that comes in, and then we can do our display. We don't have to care too much about how we get a two-dimensional array of string at this level. It may be the case that you're going to use some sort of relational database management system query, or maybe you're going to do some kind of computation. At this point, it doesn't really matter. Know only that you need a two-dimensional array. Here's a JTable example. What it's doing is it's asking me to open up a CSV file for use, and then do a read. Let's see if we can get that to work again. It looks like there's a small blemish in my demo. Worked a minute ago. Let's try another one. So there's a simple example of a two-dimensional array. And you can see that there's an update going on here in one of the cells. This would be cell 1, 1, and it's counting the seconds. So it's triggering a table change. So now we've got interesting behavior going on. And here you can see table model listener. We've added a listener to the table. When events come in, we'll see the change. And now we've got a thread running using an anonymous inner class. It goes to the table model and sets the value at a certain location. That causes an update on the view. And this is a great example of model view controller. So now the anonymous inner class created by the thread known as the runnable instance will be setting the value every second with some kind of a number that increases as a function of time. We could probably have set it to the date. And now we've got the date changing every second along with the time. There's a simple table model. Things have been pretty simple so far, I think. But here's a simple one. Now it's getting all of its data in the form of some sort of stock quotes. So these would be ticker symbols, company names, prices, the low and the high, maybe the change. These are probably end-of-day prices. This is presumably the volume from the day prior. And this is static data. So when we start to look at the simple table model, we threw it into a JTable, just like we always do. We got our table model listener, and then if the table changes, it'll print out hi there or something like this. Stock data comes in with percent changes. These are basic symbols that are going to be used in an array that gets used for the table model. So here's the stock table model, and now we can establish the value for each of the columns and perhaps even their sizes. Once we know these things in advance, we have an opportunity to then populate a vector and pass that into the table model. Let's try something a little more advanced. I'm going to do a spreadsheet. So here's a JTable which is simulating a spreadsheet. And what I'll do is I'll set the number equal to 1, and then I'll set this number equal to, let's see now, that would be D4 plus 1, which is 2. Now cut and paste is not working, but I could probably do something like this. D5 times 20. Yeah, that works. So you can make a simple spreadsheet. And here's the J scroll pane again, being used in the spreadsheet. I think we can scroll right and left. Yep. And we can scroll up and down. And you can make all of that work with inside of your right inside your Java program. So that gives you an opportunity now to do display of two-dimensional data. The spreadsheet model on this is rather more complicated because it needs an interpreter in order to figure out what it is you're typing when you start to type in things like A1 plus 1, things like this. This is practically an opportunity to create your own little Excel spreadsheet. And the interpreter itself is not terribly long, but it does get a little bit involved because it has to do a dispatch based on the stuff that you type in. And so if you want to, you can add your own commands and build your own little spreadsheet, which is pretty cool, I think. So that's what I got for you for today. Hope you liked it. Thank you. Bye-bye.